Welcome back to The Wandering Screen. I'm Matt Koss and I'm looking at Channing Tatum in Roofman, so let's jump in. Derek Cianfrance wants to destroy you emotionally, or at least that's what I think. This is the man who gave us Blue Valentine, The Place Beyond the Pines, and The Light Between Oceans, 3 films about love and guilt and how our choices quietly ruin our lives in slow motion. So when I saw his name attached to a comedy about a criminal living in a Toys R Us, I thought, okay, Derek, what's the catch? It turns out, Roofman is exactly what you would expect from a Cianfrance movie, but it's also surprisingly funny. It's a crime dramedy based on the true story of Jeffrey Manchester, an escaped convict who hid out in a Toys R Us for 6 months. And while it sounds like the setup for a bizarre true crime documentary, Cianfrance finds a way to make it both heartfelt and absurdly entertaining. Channing Tatum plays Jeffrey Manchester, a former army vet who starts robbing McDonald's restaurants to make ends meet. He's not exactly a violent criminal, he's actually polite, but he still kidnaps the employees and locks them in a freezer, which, is not ideal. When he's finally caught, he's sentenced to prison where he studies, works, and quietly observes every detail around him. And that's his real superpower, observation. While working in the prison workshop, he studies the comings and goings of a delivery truck, and one day he climbs underneath the truck and pulls off an escape so ingenious it feels like a scene from Catch Me If You Can. From there, he sets up a secret home inside a Toys R Us, sneaking food from the snack aisle and washing himself in the bathroom basin. He's living in the store like a suburban phantom. But then something shifts. He starts watching the employees, particularly Lee, played by Kirsten Dunst, a divorced mother of 2 who works in the store. Jeffrey becomes fascinated with her world, and when he anonymously donates toys to her church, stolen from the Toys R Us, their lives begin to intertwine in ways that force him to choose between freedom and connection. There's really so much to admire about this movie, and it starts with understanding Jeffrey as a person rather than his actions. He cares for his young daughter so much that he wants to give her everything, that ultimately leads him into criminal activity. He doesn't want to hurt the employees in a McDonald's and goes so far as to give one of them the jacket from his back so they wouldn't be cold in the freezer he was trapping them in. The man has the potential to be a mensch, but instead, whether out of options or unable to reintegrate into society after serving in the army, finds himself engaging in criminal activity. So when he eventually escapes prison, our hope as the audience isn't whether he manages to keep from going back to prison or somehow finds a way to prove some kind of innocence. Cianfrance and co-writer Kurt Gunn never ask us to excuse Jeffrey, but they do ask us to understand him. He's not just hiding from the law, he's hiding from shame, from the version of himself that failed his daughter and can't face the world. So when he escapes, we don't necessarily root for him to get away with it, we root for him to find peace, even if the peace is temporary. Now, the cast is stacked like a Wes Anderson film. Lakeith Stanfield plays Steve, Jeffrey's old army buddy who can forge government documents. Peter Dinklage is the Toys R Us store manager with an antisocial personality. Uzo Aduba appears as Eileen, a cheerful churchgoer, and Ben Mendelsohn shows up as Pastor Ron. Also, side note, if you've seen Place Beyond the Pines or even Brooklyn, Emery Cohen has a small role as a nebbish employee at Toys R Us, and it reminded me that, wow, I haven't really seen him in a while. But Roofman belongs to Channing Tatum and Kirsten Dunst. Tatum delivers one of his best performances in years. He's charming and awkward and haunted all at once. There's a stillness to his work that made me recall his performance in Foxcatcher, but with more soul and less vomit. When Jeffrey sets up baby monitors around the store to listen in on employees' conversations, it's both hilarious and deeply sad. It's the act of a man desperate to belong but terrified of being seen. Kirsten Dunst, meanwhile, brings a lot of warmth and melancholy to Lee. She's tired, cautious, and still open to life. You feel every ounce of her exhaustion, but also her flickers of hope. When she hears about the Roofman at church, this mystery man living in the store who was showering himself, she doesn't mock him. She wonders about him. She empathizes. It's such a beautifully drawn character, and Dunst nails it. Visually, the film is gorgeous, shot by Andrik Parek. It has that soft, grainy 90s texture that Cianfrance loves, like The Place Beyond the Pines. The production design absolutely nails the period, from the neon Toys R Us signage to the clunky walkie-talkies and the wall of Beanie Babies in the background. It's nostalgic without being cutesy. Cianfrance's pacing can sometimes drag, but here, the script is tight and playful. Every new scene adds a layer, whether it's Jeffrey fixing up his secret lair or attending a church singles brunch. And the reason I think Roofman will do really well with audiences is that it could have been grim. It could have been a cynical true crime story, and instead it's full of life. A story about community and redemption and the blurry line between good and bad. Jeffrey did bad things, no question, but Cianfrance invites us to see the humanity underneath the mistakes. There's this running idea that the good might not erase the bad, but maybe it can outweigh it, and just enough to make life bearable. There's a scene near the end where Lee finally learns the truth about Jeffrey, who he is, what he's done. It could have been played as pure betrayal, but instead it's heartbreakingly tender. She sees him not as a criminal, but as someone lost, and for a moment, you almost believe he could start over. Roofman is one of those films that sneaks up on you, and it's funny, it's tragic, strangely uplifting, and Channing Tatum gives one of his most layered performances yet, and Kirsten Dunst reminds everyone why she's one of the best actors still working today. It's a story about second chances and about how even in the weirdest, most impossible places, people can still find connection. And maybe that's what Cianfrance is getting at. That even in our worst moments, there's still a little piece of us still reaching for light. You've made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to get notified when I drop a new review. And let me know, what did you think of Roofman? Was Jeffrey a good person who did bad things, or just a bad person trying to convince himself he was good? Let me know in the comment section below. I can't wait to hear your take on Roofman, and see you next time.